Hello, everyone. I'm here today because I'd like to share with you some of the research that I've been doing on myself. Um, Spirit guides told me many, many years ago when I was 25 or thereabouts that everyone had a blocked throat chakra. And I have to admit that I was egotistical enough to believe that I was the only one that didn't have a blocked throat chakra. Well, what is a blocked throat chakra? Here is where we have our voice box, larynx, and then on either side of it we have um, the glands. I get the word out. So we have the thyroid and the parathyroid, and when we are talking, we make facial expressions like "Oh no, I didn't know that," to "Oh really," just to give you a few examples. And of course, while we're talking, we're also listening to ourselves, justifying what we're saying. And then someone responds to us, and so we are listening to them, and we're like, what? So we're trying to make sense of what we hear. Now, let's go back in time and just say here that when a baby is born, pops out of mummy's body into this world, the first things that happen after the brain is squished and comes out and the brain just swells back out again is that the five senses kick in. A baby opens eyes, may not know what it's looking at, but looking. Baby is sniffling, wanting to smell mummy's milk. The baby is tasting mummy's milk. Also, hearing doctors and people talking around while they're trying to figure out how the baby is. And of course, the baby gets pulled around a lot, do a little blood test on the heel. And we don't realize, even as gentle as we are, just how the baby is feeling when we all touch, carry the baby, hold it to mother's breast and dad's breast, and so on and so forth. So, in that immediate moment when you were born and held by mom, and the belly button was made, so by cutting the cord, all this was going on that you don't even remember right now. But I can tell you that all of that is in your throat chakra. So, what did I do? Well, over the years, while Spirit was training me and I'm listening to them, because you have to remember back in those days, being a spiritualist medium meant you were pretty well spouting the Bible to people in churches, giving messages from the oneness to people who are bereaved or lost or miserable in some way, giving them hope and joy in the moment to feel that life is worth living, having come out of World War II. And by the time I was a teenager, the birth of organizations such as I'm trying to remember the words here because I'm me talking and not spirit talking. The unions, got the word. The unions were very dominant in between 15 and 25, I would say. They were rising up, striking, making complaints, birthing leaders who wanted to make serious organizations that protected the workers and so on. And that was a big awakening in the Piscean Age to say that every human life is valuable. And the reason we said that was because of World War II, and many people were killed, including a lot of Japanese with Hiroshima and Nagasaki. So what we need to realize now is the Piscean Age, over 3,500 years of it, saw many, many wars. So even we go back as far as the Romans, who were conquering the whole of Germany, Europe, out that way, and so remote East, the Middle East, they were everywhere. Okay, and so over time, as the Piscean Age got older and older, all these things that were conquered by the Romans were eventually broken up into countries. And here today, after World War II, we can see what's happening with Israel and the Middle East. Here I want to not be a big deal about saying what's going on in the Middle East. I'm sure we all know about it. But what I do want to say is here is a tradition in the minds of the Middle Eastern people. And it is very difficult for us Western people to imagine that you have to walk around as a woman in black clothing from head to foot when we're watching Western women walking around in swimsuits that barely cover anything. These people are also watching movies in the Middle East, so they know what's going on in the West. But have you ever stopped to ask yourself, why is the Middle East so steeped in the traditions of not just the Piscean Age, but also the Taurus Age, and even further back in time, the Aries Age? Sorry, I have to stop and think. It's me talking, not spirit. Okay, so 3,000 years, I did a show on this before. 3,000 years plus 3 times is 9,000 years, and the odd years in between. And when you see everything adds up to 9, 9 is ending. And when you think about the Aquarian Age, it's beginning. It's very early beginning. It's like one day in the life of the 3,265 or so years to come with the Aquarian Age. So when we look back at the Piscean Age and we see how far we've come just alone in the last 1,000 years, never mind the whole 3,000 years, then we start to see how fast we are in adapting, evolving, and going on to do something else. So yeah, in another 1,000 years, we will be off planet. We might be on another planet. But we can't even imagine that yet. We can think about it, we can talk about it, we can fantasize about it, but will we really know how it will be then? Not till we get there. Because evolvement happens day by day, hour by hour, minute by minute in each individual person. Now, we do know right now that there are many people who are angry, frustrated with their leaders, and currently are asking for new leaders. Some of them are violent about it, some of them are just voices in the dark or in the light, depending on where they're doing it. But we are all realizing we don't want the Piscean Age rules anymore. We want freedom of speech, we want to build our infrastructures, and we don't want to conquer any other country anymore, and we don't want to win any more wars anymore. We want to listen to one another. So let's talk for a minute about religion. You might be a Catholic, and you may have been taught that when you were confirmed as a child of God at 5 years old, that you were blessed with God's love. But then you go to church and everyone tells you there's rules in this church. You have to go and confess. I have to tell you, my friends who were Catholics when we were all about 7 told me that they made up lies about how they'd been naughty because they had to say that they had been naughty when they confessed. So I said, what do you say? He said, oh, like I was rude to Mum. This particular child was never rude. And I said so. And this child said, well, that's why I make it up. That's why I lie. I said, well, why do you do that? He said, well, I'm afraid. I'm afraid the priest will give me more things, Our Fathers and Hail Marys to do, and I don't want that. And they also make me punished by my parents saying I've got to stay in my room. So I just do what the priest says, and then I can be left alone. Now, I have to admit that in those days when I was young, we were all hit. Yeah, there was no one saying it's wrong to hit a child, and I got lots of times I was hit. But it doesn't matter why or when or how now. But what it does matter when I come back to my throat chakra is as I speak about it and you heard my voice crack, that it tells you that those times I was hit, those times that I was told I'm not supposed to speak about something, keep a secret, and I wanted to tell everyone what the secret was, you know, you're fighting yourself. You're trying to be true to yourself, but at the same time you can't because you're afraid. You're afraid of the chastisements that will happen. So you go in your room and you mope and you feel nobody loves me and nobody cares about me. Well, that was pretty well the story of most Piscean Age children. And we'd all go to school and commiserate with one another. My dad hit me last night. My mum was shouting and yelling at me last night. I was told I didn't do this and I didn't do that, but I did. I did all my chores, I did everything, and they're still going on at me. Well, how can we survive that now in the Aquarian Age? But it's a whole different thing because we can't chastise the children, but we can sit them down and we can say to them, you just ate all the cookies in the cupboard. Why? Well, I was hungry. Okay. So that means you're full up now, yes? Well, yes. So you don't need me to cook any dinner, do you? Well, no, I'm still hungry. I want dinner. Well, I'm sorry, but you ate all the cookies, and so I'm going to have to say your stomach's full, and you need to let that go down and out the other end, so we'll have to wait till dinner tomorrow. And you stick to it. Mum, I'm hungry at 9 o'clock at night. I'm sorry. Have a glass of water. Go back to bed. You have to sleep now. But I'm hungry. Well, tomorrow you can have a meal. There's no cookies left, so you'll be hungry for your dinner, won't you? By talking to a child this kind of way, you're teaching the child that you're not chastising them, you're teaching them that if you filled your stomach with one thing, you have no room for something else. Now, I can tell you that when my children were young, they were going into the fridge, sneaking stuff, and then coming out and telling me they're not hungry. Meanwhile, I've been cooking dinner. Now I'm frustrated because I've cooked a nice meal and neither of my kids want them. Well, okay, reheat for tomorrow. I don't want this. This was yesterday's dinner. Well, it's yesterday's dinner today. You can have that. It's here. Shall I put some on the plate for you? Okay. No, I don't want it. Thank you. All right. You can get down from the table. You can go and play. But I'm still hungry. Sorry, this is all we have. Well, after a while, my children came back and said, I'm still hungry. Well, this is all we have. Do you want it? Okay. And of course, they ate it. So, teaching a child that they cannot control you is very important because that's what that's all about. I want what I want when I want it. And you have to say to yourself, I will teach you that you can have what you want when you can provide for yourself what you want. So let's do another example. Child comes to you and says, I don't want to have my meal now because I'm doing my artwork. I'm doing my homework. Okay, go do your homework, go do your artwork. I'll keep your dinner for later. So you put it in the oven, or you keep it warm, or you let it get cold, whatever you decide to do. Mom, I've done my homework. Can I go out to play now? No, you have to have your dinner. You haven't had your dinner yet. But wait a minute, I don't want it now. I'm not hungry. What do you mean you're not hungry? Well, I was hungry, but I did my homework. Now I'm not hungry. Well, if you're not hungry, then you'll be starving later, so you better start eating your dinner now. Oh, no, I don't want it. I want to go out. No. Sit down. I'll give you your dinner because later on I won't be here to make sure you eat it. Where are you going? Well, I have this and that to do. But why do I have to eat my dinner now because you're doing this and that? Well, I'm your mum and I have a job, and my job is to make sure you're not hungry. But I'm not hungry now. No, it's true. But when you come home, if you go out and play, you will be hungry. And I won't be here to warm it up. Where are you going? Oh, that's to see my friend. Well, Daddy can hear it. No, Daddy's not going to be here. Well, my older brother or sister can. No, you have to have it now. You can't go out till you've eaten. Oh, but that's punishment. I don't want punishment. Well, I don't think it's punishment. I'm protecting you. I'm protecting you from being hungry later. Well, if the child is persistent, they're not hungry, let them go out, let them come back. When they come back, I'm hungry, give them the cold dinner. It's cold, I don't want it. Well, you didn't eat it earlier when it was hot. If we keep cooking it, it will be horrible. So better to eat it cold. But I don't like cold dinner. Well, if you'd have eaten it earlier, it would have been hot. Now, when you say it firmly, but also say it with a smile on your face. You're looking at me, so I'm not demonstrating because I'm not talking to a little child. But if I was, I would be saying to a child, "Oh, well, I'm so sorry you're starving. Look, here's your dinner. You can have this now," and put it in front of the child. But it's cold. Oh, well, if I heat it up, it won't be as tasty. Do you want me to heat it up? No, I don't want it. Well, okay, you didn't eat it. You can get down, you can go and play. But I'm hungry. Well, do you want it heated or do you want to eat it cold? Once they make up their mind, you do it for them. If they don't, they want to get down and play, let them get down and play. Wrap it up, put it in the fridge. When they come later and say they're hungry, out comes the dinner. They will learn in time when you show them nicely that you are getting them to eat the good food and not the rubbish in the cupboard that is cookies and so on. And once you have got them to eat their dinner, most of it probably, then as an extra surprise, you say to them, now that you've eaten your dinner, you can get down and play, or you can have dessert. I want dessert. Well, good job you ate your dinner so you could have dessert. That's your reward. You teach the child when they comply, they get something they don't expect, something extra. But don't do it all the time because they'll expect it all the time. You have to be crafty and do it when they least expect it. Now let's fast forward. The years have gone by, and here you are, and you're saying to your friend, I really shouldn't eat this candy, and I really shouldn't have these cakes, and I'm already 100 pounds overweight, and I know I should go on a diet, but I don't want it. I don't want the diet. I don't want to do all that. I'll just eat my donut. That'll be okay. It's not a full meal. What are you doing? You're giving yourself all that you wanted as a child, but it's not doing you any good because your inner workings of your body can't handle all the food you're putting in that you like. It needs the food you said as a child you don't like, the good stuff. So one of the things I find when people come to me and they say, I want a hypnosis session, I want you to hypnotize me to eat small portions. I have to sit down with them and ask some questions about their childhood. And I will tell you that most times they'll say, my mother, my father told me I have to eat my dinner. And if I didn't eat my dinner, then there was no sweets, desserts, or anything. And if I got down the table, I didn't get them for a week. But guess what? Here you are, an adult, and you're giving yourself all the sweets, all the candies, all the things you like that you couldn't have as a child. So it's very important to realize that your childhood memories, though they're in your subconscious brain and even at the back in your deep subconscious, what you're telling yourself is, I couldn't have what I wanted when I was a child, so I jolly well have it now, even to the expense of being overweight and unhappy and painful when I walk. So, what we have to do then is teach you to self hypnotize yourself. When you see the candy, the donut, or whatever it is, you look at it, smell it, and you say, the smell is enough. I remember eating them many, many times. Today, I will survive on the memory and walk away. If you did that every day in the baker's shop, by the time a week had gone by, you would not want the donut because you've learned that it has side effects when you do have it. As you lose weight, as you start to understand that you're making amends for all the things you didn't get as a child, you may also discover you're angry about that. You want to tell your mum, you were mean to me, you didn't give me all those things I wanted when I was a child, so it's your fault I'm eating all these things now. No, it's not. It was your mum who was trying to teach you to eat the right foods so you'd be healthy and strong. It's you who decided to not eat the good stuff, complain and moan and groan, have your fits of temper or tantrums that you probably don't even remember now, that you didn't get the food that you wanted. But you will have a conscious memory. I was not loved. I was not given what I wanted, so I was not loved. That's my equation. Well, of course, it's not true, and you know it's not true. But if you want to lose that weight, if you want to be healthy, then you need to take responsibility for your childhood, for your infancy, for your choices that you've made with your family to not do what your family advised you to do. Now, that doesn't mean that everything that your parents told you to do is right. Obviously, I'm talking about food, and that is important. And when you're overweight, you need to learn to eat little often. Small baggies of celery, a bit of meat, a bit of cheese, a bit of fruit. 5 or 6 a day, it's fine because you're giving your stomach time to absorb it in between. And given a few months, you will lose those pounds without having to sacrifice anything because your stomach will shrink. And when you eat those little bags, your mind will say, it's full, I've got enough in my stomach. And yes, I did like the taste of it. And yes, an hour or two later, I have a craving for it again because I like the taste. So you're reprogramming yourself to eat the right foods. But what about work? What if you were in school and you were a naughty child all the time and you never did your homework and you didn't care about reading and writing and everyone was on your case because you did not comply with the classes? You ran away, you played hooky, you weren't in school a lot. And now you're on the street with your friends, hanging around with them, feeling, hey, I'm part of the gang because the gang is giving you comfort. Yeah, we're all out together. No, we're not learning. Hey, we don't need them. Conversations. You go home and lie to your mum and say, I was in school, and the school calls and says, no, you wasn't in school. Okay, and of course you're found out. Now you're feeling guilty. You're feeling guilty that you haven't gone to school, you haven't learned, you haven't studied. But now you're so behind that you're afraid that you'll never catch up. So you justify still not going to school, or being in school but sitting at the back of the class and being disruptive, or falling asleep, or doing something you shouldn't be doing. And still your teacher calls your mum up and says, this child is not behaving. What shall we do? What do you want to do? If the child doesn't do the right thing in school, okay, we might want to put them in a different school, one where they're in small classes, where you're allowed to focus on one child at a time. Nice idea. Good for you if you get to be put in that school, but most don't. Why? Parents don't have the money. Parents don't have the time to do it individually. They're working, trying to earn money so you can have that cake, that donut, or whatever it is they give you to shut you up from being a nuisance. Conditioning of your childhood in the first 15 years is like that. Every parent from the Piscean Age has rules and regulations that they learned from their parents, and those grandparents learned it from their parents, and so on. And of course, the child is doing what they're told in those days because they were reprimanded, they were hit, they were punished, they were ignored, they were left out of situations. Why? Because they were an embarrassment to the family. So, okay, we're all going off to the zoo, but you're not coming because you don't behave yourself. Punishments were the way of telling a child, nobody loves you, nobody cares about you, nobody wants you. Here today in the Aquarian Age, parents are now aware of their children, the young ones that is, because they went through all the suffering and they don't want that for their children. So they're kind. They don't hit their children. They talk to their children. But then they have to go to work and grandma takes over or grandpa takes over. And there may be two sides, husband, father, and wife, mother, sharing the children. And so the children are hearing the Piscean Age again from granny and grandpa on both sides. You have to follow my rules. If you don't eat your dinner, then you're in your bedroom. They go home and tell mom, oh, granny and grandpa, they were mean to me. What happened? You tell the story. Mum says, well, that's how I grew up. That's how they were. You have to recognize that. So, all the more reason to behave yourself when you're with granny and grandpa. Okay? But mum can't be there watching what they do because she's at work. Dad is also busy traveling, driving a lorry. Who knows where he is? Maybe he doesn't get home more than weekends. And he is tired and he doesn't want to hear complaints. And so you again feel left out. Parents aren't supporting you. They're worried about money. You have to go to grandmas and grandpas again. And they're going to tell you the old stuff again. And they'll even hit you, maybe. So you grow up. And you think granny and grandpa are monsters. And mummy and daddy are equal so because they didn't protect me and save me from granny and grandpa. So you get older still and you tell yourself, my family was dysfunctional. I'm dysfunctional. I can't function out there in the world, so I'll just get a hokey job. I'll go work for Walmart as a door greeter. And I'll tell everyone that I don't get along very well, so social will give me some money. And then you wonder why you're stuck in a rut, because you don't want to learn anymore. You don't want to go to night school. You don't want to go to further education. You tell yourself you're not good enough. You'll never be good enough. Well, I'm here to tell you, stop it. It's history. I'm here to tell you, get out of the rut of saying I'm not any good. Get into the idea of seeing more of yourself. How are you going to do that? Enroll in classes of interest. If you're artistic, go join an art class. If you like your body, go do an athlete kind of class or a yoga class. If you're into your body. If you're into your mind and you want to learn, study a new language. It's amazing how studying a new language changes the way you see your own language. Some languages, for example, they put the verb going out next to shop, next to grocery list, and then finally I will get a bust. It's all back to front from the way we speak. I've seen that in many countries in the world with my interpreters. And I have to understand that I have to wait until they finish because often it takes a lot longer in a foreign language to say what I said briefly in my language. So this is something else to realize. Different people from different countries, especially in this big country, America, have all got accents. And we listen to their accents and sometimes we don't understand them because they're strong. And we're thinking they're mumbling maybe. We have to listen a little bit more. But in the listening means be still, pay attention, watch their facial muscles, watch if they're sniffing, blowing their nose, crying, watch their eyes. Do they look like they're hiding something or they're really there and talking to you and into you, opening up their eyes? Or are they like looking around, not paying attention, bored by you? No good talking to someone who's bored. They'll just get up and walk away eventually. And they're listening. And maybe they're doing this because they can't quite hear you because they're older. Or maybe they hear very well, but they don't want to hear what you're saying. So they start playing up, interrupting everything you're saying. All this throat chakra remembers every tiny moment where you were speaking with someone else, where you were smelling someone's body or someone's food, where you were hearing some bad words or some good words, where you were hearing unexpected sounds like sirens that made you jump, to bombs blowing off that made you scared, to people yelling and screaming at you that made you angry. See, all these emotions respond to what your brain, your headache here that of thoughts, of everything that your face is doing, and your neck nodding and bobbing on your shoulders to try and fit in with society. And before you know where you are, you feel isolated. You can't fit in because your upbringing didn't set you on the right pathway to find you. So now you're an adult and you're saying, well, I'm just like my mum, I'm just like my dad, and my family's all very similar, and we all look the same, and we all talk the same, we all do the same. And I'm bored, and I'm fed up, and I have no money, and I'm lost, miserable. I've got to do drugs. I've got to get medicine from the doctor because I'm depressed. Well, yes, you could go down that pathway, or you can say, enough already. I don't want this kind of life. I'm going to break away from my family by doing things differently. I can still visit them and chat with them when I want to, but I'm going to find a new me. And a new me might be doing some healing with somebody, some hypnosis. Some of my crystal acupuncture really changes energy that you get off the table and say, oh, I want different already. So not just me, but many people who are down, who are light workers, are available to help you find you, to get rid of all the coding of your mother, father, grannies and grandpas, aunties and uncles, cousins, and yes, employers, and yes, teachers, and the list goes on and on and on. And you are, by absorption, a little bit of every one of those people. And while some of them may make you feel separate, others may feel you united, it doesn't mean you're a happy camper because you're constantly trying to make everyone happy that you're there. Time to swap that around. Make you happy with new people in your life and later go back and show and tell the new you to the family. They may not like it at first, but they'll accept it. They'll get used to you. So people who have changed their sexual ideas, people who are dressing in different kinds of clothes might seem strange, but when you take all those things off, they're human. And whatever they are, They have to learn to live with that human body they're in. So don't run away from yourself. Don't hide yourself in the clouds. Don't hide yourself in strange clothes. If you like to look like that because it brings you joy, that's enough. It's not to hide from people. If you want to work in a different job, take a job as a beginner and climb the ladder of success. As you learn slowly, you'll become much better as time passes. Never rush, never hurry, but always be committed to the changes that you want to make. So, on that note, I'm going to leave you. I'm going to end this little talk, and I'm going to say to you, do take time to go listen to The Truth, my other show that's up on SoundCloud. I have lots of little talks as well. I also have Journey into an Unknown World on iTunes, and I think they've put some copies too of that up on SoundCloud. And of course, my videos are all on YouTube. So do listen and learn because it's free. Bye bye.